So I'm here at SMX West with Janet Driscoll Miller from Search Mojo, based in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Correct.
Yes. And so Janet's an expert on paid search and SEO, and she was presenting today on Google+. And really, it's a hot topic right now. So thanks for taking the time to talk to us about it.
Well, thanks.
So what was your session about today? It was about Google+. But what were you talking about?
Specifically, we're talking about Google Plus and SEO, and I was telling everyone how they can implement the parts of Google Plus into their website specifically. But there's really three main parts you can think about with Google Plus, and the first thing you have to ask yourself is why bother? I mean, there's a lot of bad press about Google Plus right now. People are saying it's a wasteland. Why even bother? Well, the whole premise of our conversation today in our session was how Google Plus is so important for SEO. So when people ask me, well, what's the value and why should I bother? There's a lot of SEO benefit right now from it. And recently Google launched Google Search Plus Your World. And what it did was it started to give more value to social rankings, specifically from Google Plus. You can actually see your search rankings change based on your social circle and on content being shared through Google Plus. As an example, we did a webinar a couple weeks ago, and it was on healthcare marketing with SEO, and we had never ranked for the term healthcare marketing, but a couple of people in my organization shared links to our webinar, and within 24 hours we were ranked in positions 3 and 4 for the word healthcare marketing. So it has a lot of power, and it doesn't just go to, let's say you and I are friends on Google Plus, it doesn't just show to you, but it will show to your connections as well. So if you widen those circles, you can really get a lot of exposure for your content very, very quickly.
Now, we've heard about personalization that Google's doing with search results. So when you're saying you're ranked 3rd and 4th for a key term, you're meaning for a circle of people that is within that social network on Google Plus?
Correct, correct. So the social network is with your social network. So I saw it because I was connected to those two people who were from my company, but also all of their friends saw it, and it's 2 degrees of separation. So it's not just their friends, but friends of friends.
Okay.
So there's a lot more exposure that goes on there. And then Google also will suggest content it thinks that you would be interested in. So there's a lot of potential to get that exposure, but part of it's going to be, of course, growing those circles like we're talking about to get that exposure.
Right. So there's the Search Plus Your World component of how it's affecting SEO. But what about just normal, plain old SEO? Regular rankings.
Well, right now, there's a lot of conversation about what could happen in the future. Right now, I don't think that it's affecting much of the regular rankings. But when you look at social media in general, we like to say in SEO that really the linkscape is changing. The way it used to be that inbound links were the way that Google measured popularity and what was a popular topic, because it was like a vote of popularity. But now people don't link the same way they used to. Now they link through social networks and share information that way, as opposed to me always writing a blog post and then linking. So that's not as common anymore. So Google, as well as Bing, have to look all the time at how social networks can change that. Google, however, is, in addition to other links and other social networks, really putting a lot of emphasis on Google+. And I think that's because they want to understand the individual users and what the users want from a personalization standpoint. So that's a big part of it. But we're going to be seeing, I think, a lot more involvement in +1s, where you +1 content with Google, and that those may really have a lot more ranking, more effect on ranking going forward.
So Google Plus is obviously brand new, so maybe it's early to be talking about best practices. But what taking a stab at it, what would you say are some best practices for businesses to get into Google Plus and try it out or maximize its effectiveness?
That's a good question. The very first thing is every business, regardless of whether you think you do or not, should have a Google Plus for Business page. They're very easy to set up. One thing I would recommend, however, is that the administration of those pages can be tricky because it's not exactly like Facebook pages. People expect it to be like Facebook, and it's not. You can have multiple administrators, but there's still one owner. So, for instance, if you're the business owner, you should go in and do it. So it's under your email address, and you always have that ultimate control. So make sure that the person you're giving it to, that either it's an email address that multiple people can get to, or that the owner of the company could. The other challenge is that most people use their Gmail account to sign up. Well, the problem is if I'm the social administrator and I leave the company and I use my Gmail address to set up the page, I can never transfer that Gmail necessarily. So you want to try, you can set up your Google profiles with your own domain email addresses. So I like to recommend that just because I feel like it's safer for companies. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you want to link that page to your website using something called Direct Connect with Google. One of the benefits of this is that you can have your Google Plus page show up in search results, and from a reputation perspective and how your brand is presented online, that's a really positive thing because it can really help you own more of your brand search results. So that's a two-step process. You have to have the page set up on Google Plus, and then you go to your site and you actually you can add a Google Plus badge to your site. And Google gives you all the code. It's very simple to do. Once you've done that, then they're hooked up, and then at some point, Google's now rolling out this Direct Connect where you're showing up more in search results with your Google Plus page. So that's
Google recommends is that you actually are a verified owner because you changed your website to match.
Exactly. So it makes that connection. It can also help you from an authorship perspective when you start hooking these things up, because when you have a blog and you want to show that you're an author, it can make that authorship a lot easier to show through Google. So you want to make sure you get that Google Plus for Business page. And then the second thing I'd say is really start adding +1 buttons to your site. They're not, I would say that the rate of adoption is still very slow. We were looking at the Fortune 100 today, and the Fortune 100, about 57% of them have Google Plus for Business pages, but only 11% have +1 buttons on their site. But this is an opportunity, again, for sharing content. And when someone +1s content and someone in their circle sees it, it's just more exposure in that organic search result for you to get more exposure. So I highly recommend people adding the +1 buttons to the pages of your site as well.
Do you think there's a chance of, like a risk of going overboard on the Google Plus thing? For example, I've seen some companies that almost seem to, perhaps they know SEO and they know how important Google Plus is going to be in Google's ranking for SEO. And so they're almost emphasizing Google Plus links, buttons on their website and on their pages almost more than the regular content of the site, right? Because they see this, this SEO value that's going to magically come out of it.
Right. Well, and it hasn't been determined yet. A lot of it, it's still up in the air. It's changing every day. So, certainly the content isn't always the most important thing. But you have to find ways to probably integrate the +1 as well as you would a like button on Facebook, because you want to share content in multiple places. And as we were talking about today, would you share the same content on Google Plus that you would on Facebook? A lot of times they may be two different audiences, so you want to make sure you have all of the options there so that the content can be shared in multiple places. But do you need to go overboard? Probably not. I don't think this is the time to get too freaked out yet about Google Plus, but definitely it's a priority for Google, clearly. And so it's a priority for Google, expecting to possibly change organic results and even affect paid results in the future.
So there's this infographic I've seen floating around with a flow chart of how to decide where to post some piece of content about your life, whether it should go to Twitter or Facebook. So, and Google Plus wasn't in there because it was, I think, produced before Google Plus.
Right.
So where does Google Plus, do you think, fit within the spectrum of where you would post something? Because LinkedIn is for professional, Twitter is for like, I just had a sandwich, and Facebook's like, photos of your kids, right? So, yeah.
I think I've seen like Twitter, I'm eating a donut now.
Yeah, exactly.
Facebook, I ate a donut earlier. Right now, I'll tell you, most people I see on Google Plus are people like you and me. They're tech folks, they're internet marketing folks. So my mom isn't on Google Plus, right? So I'm not going to post a lot of personal photos there probably. I think right now it's tending to lean towards being a professional network. But as things change and as it evolves, and I like to tell people that Facebook early on was just college students, right? It wasn't you and me, it was just folks in college area. But then it broke out of that niche as more people discovered it. And so that can very well happen for Google Plus. I think, like I said, because of the emphasis Google's putting on it, because of their desire to be able to know you as an individual across multiple types of applications and devices, that this is going to be a real major push for them, clearly, and so I wouldn't look for it to go away. I know all the naysayers say, oh, it's a wasteland, it's deserted. It won't be forever, so I wouldn't ignore it. But would I drop everything today and make sure that I had all those +1 buttons in there at this moment. You don't have to, but know that the longer you have +1 buttons and your competitor doesn't, that gives you more time to attain +1s on your content. So it puts you in some type of advantage.
Yeah. And is there any effect on paid search from Google Plus and what they're doing there?
Right now there's not, but you can +1 ads right now. So if someone sees an ad on Google and they like the content, they can +1 it. I haven't heard any data from Google about how many people are +1ing it. You can also track that information in AdWords. You can tell how many people are +1ing it. You can use social extensions as well, which shows how many people have +1'd it, who of your friends +1 the ad, all that stuff. But I personally don't believe that people +1 content in ads like they might do in Facebook. I think it's a little bit different. What I see as a potential, there's always lots of potentials, of course, the sky's the limit, but I question if maybe those +1s won't eventually go into quality score.
Yeah.
And people are +1ing your content, like your ad, maybe that's another quality indicator for Google. So it could affect your costs in the future if you don't have +1s. But we'll see where that goes. I think the real emphasis is more on the organic side right now than the paid side.
Yeah, you almost wonder if +1s on the landing page will affect quality score from the inbound ad too.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Are you going to have +1s on that page? And also, if you have the badge, if people start adding you to circles on a particular page, does that help the page? And there's a lot of different variations, I think, and we'll just have to see where Google goes with it. Right now, it's still in its infancy, so we don't have to all rush out.
Well, the challenge is a lot of what Google does is still a black box, right? So
that's true. Yeah.
Until someone's experimented and done some more testing to find out how it's actually affecting, and then they change it.
Well, I work with some big brands, and we have +1s implemented across almost all of our clients, and they've all got Google Plus pages. And I think what we're seeing in Google Webmaster Tools and looking at the data, we're not seeing anything significant. We're not seeing a lot of +1ing, and most of the +1ing I can probably attribute to my staff.
Right.
So, I mean, I look at it and go, okay, there was 10. Every one of us did it, or whatever. So, knowing that, I even with larger brands that are taking it on, you just don't see a lot of people used to +1ing it. And so I just don't think until it becomes something that people accept as part of the way they're doing things and recommending, you won't see as much adoption. The other thing is +1s only recently allowed you to also share the content. So in Facebook, you could like the content and share it at the same time. You previously didn't have that option with +1s until just very recently. So now you can actually share the content in Plus when you +1 something. Originally, it was just more like a vote or a chat. I +1 it. And so that really wasn't as effective. It wasn't sharing content. So what was the point of +1ing anything? If you're a user, why bother if you're not really going to share it? So hopefully that'll help their adoption as well. And they want people +1 things.
We were talking earlier too about actually setting up your Google Plus page and how some companies are setting them to be more attractive than others.
Right.
And some examples of that.
Yeah, I came across Wells Fargo. I love the way some of these folks are using their photos at the top and chopping them up. So you have one default photo that's just chopped up and you spread it across, I think it's 5 or 6 photos at the top. And so some people are being very creative with it, really putting some very attractive photos up there. Other folks are just setting up their page and they're kind of setting it and forgetting it because they don't see the need yet to do much with it. They're just getting that direct connect established.
Okay, well that's great information. That should help everyone to
Well, thank you
do a
very
better
much.
job. And luckily, it seems like Widerfunnel, we've set up with the right email addresses and the way you've recommended. So that's good.
That's good.
We made the first step. That's excellent.
That's great.
So tell us a little bit about your company, Search Mojo.
So Search Mojo was founded in 2005, so we've been around about 7 years now, and we specialize in search engine optimization and paid search, and we also do Facebook advertising as well. And we're, like I said, located in lovely Charlottesville, Virginia, and we work with all types of clients. One of the things we're taking on a lot more now is we're doing a lot of nonprofits and helping folks get the Google grant with nonprofits, which is a really interesting enterprise. I'm always shocked by how many nonprofits don't realize that there's free money from Google out there. So but we work with all types of industries and all types of clients, for both paid and organic search.
Great. Well, thank you again. It was good talking to you as always.
Thanks for having us.